my name is Noemi. Welcome to the Forge's Marxism 101 series. Today we're going to cover dialectical materialism. First, we're going to start with the history of this term because often when you are talking to people who are not familiar with communism or socialism, they will Google dialectical materialism and come up with chiefly the definition presented by sophists or the Greek philosophers. And this method that they are talking about is the method of looking at how someone's argument is self-refuting or self-defeating, and it's about using people's arguments against them. Plato is another user of dialectical materialism, and he applies it to thought, only to thought. Next, we have Hegel, who introduced this method through a series of lectures that ended in 1830. And Hegel said all things in the world develop through dialectics. Marx wrote Capital in 1867, and Mao was born in 1893. So we're seeing about 30-year jumps in significant events related to dialectical materialism in the West. However, it's worth noting that there were two similar lines of thought developed in India that preceded Hegel. So dialectical materialism first is a method. It's chiefly a method of demonstrating known truths and governing truths. We have to get as close to the objective truth as possible. For example, we read what an author is saying, and we agree on that objectively before we get into our reactions and our opinions. That's a form of getting to an objective truth with a method in mind. And so after you know the truth will inform your action. And at that point, you really can't go wrong because you will have an ethical basis for moving forward, and you will have confidence in your actions as revolutionaries. So the first step is a thesis. The thesis is an idea or an argument. Basically, you're just presenting an idea that's been presented to you within pop culture or within a piece of media or within the news. We're going to get into an example now. Marie Antoinette in Sofia Coppola's film titled Marie Antoinette. In this film, she is shown as an innocent young person who just wants to have fun, who doesn't know what her role is in the world, and she's more subjugated than subjugator. And so that's Marie Antoinette. She's young. She doesn't understand the harm that she may be causing within this film. That's how she's presented. So the second step is the antithesis. And the antithesis is not necessarily the opposite of the thesis. It is simply some information that contradicts the thesis. It can be your experiences. It could be events or information, research that you do. It could be anything. And so we're going to get into the example of the antithesis. An antithetical idea is that Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." And people were starving in France, and they killed her because they felt wronged by her. That is the antithesis to our thesis. It contradicts the movie Marie Antoinette that shows her as a passive party in the French nation. So step 3 is the synthesis. What we have to do is take the thesis and the antithesis and meld them together. If you're a kinetic learner, do this with me. Thesis, antithesis, meld them together. Throw away what is not useful to progress and revolution. Throw away what is oppressive. Throw away what's not true. Okay, that's how we do this synthesis. So what is true in this example? It's not true that Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake," It's from a pamphlet that was distributed by people who wanted to demonstrate how oblivious Marie Antoinette was. So when presented with the idea that her people did not have bread, this pamphlet said that she replied, "Let them eat cake." It was an example. However, it reflected something real. Also, we know for sure that it's true that the people wanted revolution because they did not have the necessities in their life. They saw that Marie Antoinette had luxuries while they did not have necessities. We also know that it's true that Marie Antoinette was a prominent person, and she had the most visibility in the nation next to the king. She had the most power next to the king and the most responsibility next to the king. And so she was held responsible for that. It didn't matter that she was young or not paying attention, because it was her job to keep her people alive and well. And the material reality is that Marie Antoinette benefited from people starving and going without. And that's something that you get punished for when you are a leader in a leadership position. So what is most important for socialists? The synthesis must be focused on revolution. You can use this with historical events or with current events. Sometimes you can basically tell the future with dialectical materialism, with an example that you can see fully in my other dialectical materialism video that is about an hour long. I examined in June 2017 Melania Trump, and I responded to people's popular opinion that she should be left out of the Trump criticisms and that she's innocent. I responded to that in June 2017. In June 2018, she wore that jacket while en route to visit detainees. In October 2018, Melania Trump admitted that she wore that jacket on purpose, intentionally, to send a message. And anyone who can do dialectical and historical analysis and materialist analysis would not be surprised to have found that she did that, and with intent. So dialectical materialism is an indispensable tool. It's worth learning, it's worth using, and we must get to the root of a problem as socialists before we can name the solution. Thank you for watching.